Our scripture reading comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 12, verses 23 to 26. And there, John tells us that Jesus answered them, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Very truly I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Those who love their life lose it, and those who hate their life in this world will keep it for eternal life. Whoever serves me must follow me, and where I am, there will my servant be also. Whoever serves me, the Father will honor." The word of the Lord, to live and to share. Thanks be to God.
I really appreciate Jesus' words there as he explains to us, as he tells us that if you want to keep your life, those who want to save their life will lose it. And how a single grain, what good is it unless it goes down into the earth and it bears fruit? How important that is to our life of faith, that we together bear fruit. I've been a part of a number of active churches throughout my life, or at least I thought I'd been a part of really active churches. That is, until I got here to the Stillwater First United Methodist Church. And I couldn't believe just how active all the ministries and events and things that are going on here in the life of this church. And I remember how impressed I was, especially when I first got here, with the youth. The youth group of this church, how they met not just on Sunday nights, but Sunday and Wednesday nights. How there was Sunday school, how there were Bible study options throughout the week, how they were involved in hands-on mission here within this church, in this community, and beyond. And I remember that first spring break, how surprised I was, how when most youth groups are spending time at snow-capped mountains out in Colorado, you would find the youth group of Stillwater First Church sweating somewhere, loving their brothers and sisters, their neighbors, as themselves. And this has continued on over the years, over my past 8+ years now here of being at First Church, of seeing and experiencing this congregation being active and serving God's kingdom here in Stillwater and beyond, but also observing our youth and their work and their efforts to make an impact in the world around them. And in fact, this is such a priority to them that they are making this an emphasis over the coming year. Over the coming year, the youth are making serving God's kingdom an emphasis in their ministry and through all that they do. And so I was really intrigued by that this past summer as I was speaking with our youth director, Alton Carter, and hearing more about his and Janelda's plans for the youth ministry. And so I decided, well, I want to learn more about this. What can we as a congregation learn from our youth, from what they have done and what they are doing in their ministry? And so a week ago, I spent some time with two of our youth, as well as our youth director, Alton Carter. I sat down with them and asked the questions of, tell me, what does mission and ministry mean to you? How have you been living out your mission? How have you been serving God's kingdom? And what are your plans for the coming year? And you're going to get to hear much of what they had to share with me. But before we do that, let us begin with a word of prayer. Gracious and loving God, we know that you have called each and every one of us to serve you, to serve your kingdom. How can we give of ourselves to bear fruit so that others might come to know your grace, your forgiveness, and your love? And so God, this morning we're going to hear from the youth ministry of our church, to hear the things they've accomplished for your kingdom, the plans that they have for the coming year, and also come to learn and discern how can we be a part of this ministry. For your most gracious and heavenly name we pray. Amen.
Corbin, why don't you introduce yourself for us?
My name's Corbin Phillips. I'm going into the 8th grade, and I'm part of the First United Methodist youth group.
Awesome. So, Corbin, tell me, what does mission mean to you when you hear us talk about being in mission and ministry, reaching out, serving other people? What does that mean to you?
That we have a goal to go and help other people and not focus on ourselves.
What are some of the missions and things that you've participated in through the youth group and here through the church?
I've gone on the Alabama mission trip, and we went up there and put on a VBS for the kids for a few days. Whenever I was in the VBS, we leaded a group. We would have our group, and then we'd walk them through the stations, and it's just like ours here. Mm-hmm. Every so many minutes, then you switch. And then I've gone to Water Springs Ranch twice now, and we've got to help them out and play with them and get to know them better.
And tell me a bit more about Water Springs Ranch. You said something about you said you get to know some of the kids.
So whenever we go there, we talk with them and we play with them and introduce our names to them. And then we really try to not focus on each other and try to talk with them and play with them, not with our youth group.
Okay, so you're intentional while you're there of not, it's not just you and your friends.
Yeah, it's them.
Okay. Why is that important?
Because whenever we're there, I think it's their time. It's our time to get to know them. And we don't need to, we already know each other because we're at the same youth group, but we don't see them a lot.
Okay, my name is Alice Alaska, and I'm a member of the First United Methodist Church youth group. Mission to me means changing the world and impacting others' lives.
So what does that look like then for you as a member of the youth group? In what ways do you change the world and impact other people's lives?
I try to be kind to other people and show them the light of Christ.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How have you done that with the youth group? Have you participated in any ministries or outreach or mission things?
I went to Alabama this summer, and we did a VBS, and we served at a children's home and a soup kitchen. And I tried to be kind to the children, and I tried my best at the soup kitchen, and we loaded pallets, and we did it really quick as a youth group.
Oh yeah? Okay. What were y'all loading on pallets?
We loaded basic items such as drinks, soda, oats, snacks, granola bars, just things like that. And
okay.
People could come and pick it up.
Okay, so stuff to be given out to those who are hungry.
Yeah.
And so, and you did this. You said you did this fast as a youth group. What do you mean by that?
It was scheduled to take us 2 hours with how much work we did, but we did it in about 30 minutes as a youth group.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So many hands make light work.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I think that helps display for us the importance of being in mission, the importance of serving alongside one another, because there's so much we can accomplish when we do it together, more than what we can do on our own, right? You've experienced that, haven't you? You look at the world around you and you think to yourself, what can I do, just little old me? And yes, there's things you can accomplish. There's ways you can benefit people, ways you can be in service to others, but when we decide to come together, to serve alongside each other, think about what we can accomplish together. And then I appreciated Corbin. He pointed out to us, I think the second reason that we seek to be a mission and ministry to others and to serve God's kingdom as we serve God's children. Did you hear the example he talked about of going to Water Springs Ranch? He went to Water Springs Ranch with the youth group, and it's a children's home by Lake Texarkana in Arkansas. And they went out there, and he said their purpose, their time was that they could get to know the kids there. Now, I think that's an important distinction. Yes, so often as we serve others in mission, as we go out in service, it's about providing for a need. We provide something for somebody else, but the primary goal of serving others is to build a relationship. The primary goal is to share with them the grace and the love of Jesus Christ so that the light of God might shine through you, that others might experience it through your works and through your actions. And that's what I think Corbin highlighted for us as he was telling us, we have time to get together and to get to know each other as a youth group, but our time there at Water Springs Ranch was for us to get to know them. Now, of course, for any of us who have ever been in ministry, have ever gone out on a mission trip or served at a local mission, we know that being in ministry, serving others can have as great an impact, if not more, on us as it does on those we're serving. So I asked the youth a bit about that as well. How has being in mission impacted you, and what would your words of encouragement be to those who are listening in? Let us hear what they had to say.
It's like, how did that impact you, being involved in VBS, serving at the soup kitchen, and all these things? How did that impact you?
A lot of the kids at VBS, you could tell that they really didn't have much, but they were so eager to learn about Jesus. It was really inspiring.
Why do you think being in mission is important for your life of faith? Is it important for your life of faith, and how so?
It helps us reflect on how we can improve our faith, because those people show us maybe how little they have it really does impact their faith, so maybe we need to strengthen our faith. They're just so eager to worship the Lord and learn more about Him.
Okay, so you're learning. So okay, let's continue on that then. So you went to serve, but then people were teaching you about the faith.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of back and forth thing. So I also went to Water Springs, and those kids, they came from abused homes, and they came to Water Springs, and they just became our best friends, and it was really cool how we could relate with them even though they didn't have much.
Okay.
So we could talk about Bible stories, and it was really neat. There was this little girl named Faith, and she was so proud about how she had learned about these Bible stories, and it really amazed me.
So how are you going to continue to put these things you've learned and experienced being in mission through the youth group, how are you going to apply that to your life as you go back to school here in a couple weeks?
I think I just need to, even though I have a lot of work to do at school, I just need to keep my faith as my number one priority and learn more and just grow.
So tell me, how has, through these or other mission experiences, how has that impacted you personally?
I like going on those because it makes me feel good about what I've done and helping other people.
Is being in mission work and serving, does it play an important role in our faith?
I think it does because it's a good way to go out and practice your faith.
Okay.
And share it to other people. Like, we're setting a good example with how we act and how we speak to each other. So we're nice to each other, and we're being kind and respectful of each other.
Is there any other ways that being in mission has impacted you or others that you've seen?
I think it makes them feel like they have a purpose.
What does that mean? So what is your purpose?
Like whenever you go there, you don't have a job, but everyone has a purpose to reach out to those other people that need help.
What happens if we don't fulfill that purpose? What happens if you, if any of us, if we say, nah, not interested? What happens?
Then you just exclude yourself from getting to know other people and helping them out. So you kind of just sit on the side and watch everything.
If there's someone out there who's saying, oh, I've never been involved in hands-on mission and serving someone else, is there anything you want to say to them, or any word of encouragement from Corbin Phillips, 8th grader in the youth group, of what would you tell someone who has yet to have that opportunity to be in mission?
Whenever you go, try to experience all parts of what you're doing and not just focus on one part that you already know.
So what words of advice would you have to members of the congregation, to others who will hear this, who are out there and, I've never been in hands-on mission, I've never been out serving in some way, shape, or form. What words of advice or encouragement would you have for them?
I would say go out and do it because it really will change you.
I appreciate how upfront both Ella and Corbin were. Ella there at the end telling us, just go out there and do it. Be in mission, serve somebody, because it really will change you. And then Corbin's words. I don't know if you caught these, or if it impacted you the same way it did me, but Corbin, when I asked about how this can impact you, how this can change your life, he mentioned of how we discover that we all have a purpose. We all have a purpose. We have a role to fulfill, a calling that God has placed upon our lives. And then I asked him that question, well, what happens if we don't fulfill that purpose? What if you, me, what if we don't fulfill that purpose? And his answer was, you exclude yourself. You exclude yourself and you find yourself sitting on the sidelines watching. And I was like, preach it, brother. I mean, but also, isn't that so true? How often do we do that to ourselves? Not that someone else has excluded us, but how often do we exclude ourselves by saying, I'm not good enough, or I can't have an impact, or I can't, be of service to anybody. And so we step aside and we find ourselves just sitting on the sideline. When we ignore God's purpose for our lives, or maybe even just God's purpose for us in one simple, single moment. How often do we exclude ourselves? And so I appreciated their words of encouragement. I know that being in mission and serving others can impact our lives in a major way, and I think our young people know that as good as the rest of us. And I know if you read statistics, we read and we know that young people are leaving the church in droves, but research also tells us that our millennials and our Generation Zs, that's our teenagers through young adults in their mid-30s, research also tells us that what they are really interested in is authenticity. And they're really interested in knowing that we can make a difference, serving an organization, a church, whatever it is, that is truly impacting the world around us. And our youth director, Alton Carter, he understands that very well. He knows that this is something that needs to be a focus in our youth ministry, that the old model of you come to church and then you start serving God, it may be a little bit reversed. Maybe you start serving and then you come and develop a relationship with Jesus Christ. And not everyone enters through the doors of the church first. Maybe it's their life is impacted as they serve another person, that is then that they come to know Jesus Christ. And so Alton and the youth ministry put a special emphasis on serving God's kingdom, serving our community and the community beyond Stillwater. And so I asked him a little bit about that, to share with us his understanding of mission and his experiences, as well as how this is impacting our youth ministry.
My name is Alton Carter, and I'm the Director of Youth Ministries here at the church.
All right. So tell me, we're talking about mission, ministry. Mm-hmm. First of all, I'll ask you what I asked the kids. What is mission and serving others? What does that mean to you when you hear that?
Well, number one, I think we're called to do mission, but the other part is it gets our youth involved, not only in the church, but giving back. And so one of our main projects, or one of our main ideas with serving in the youth ministry is, or the speech I give my parents is, we serve because we're called to serve. That's what we're supposed to do. And through that, we can grow closer to God. We can build relationships with people. And so I spent a lot of time trying to educate our youth that we're going to try to reach all sorts of people, not just people that we like or organizations that are fun.
How has being in mission and ministry and service impacted you personally in your life?
It's helped me quite a bit. So it's not only helped me heal, but I feel like I'm giving back to what was given to me. You know, most people know my childhood, and it was kind of rough, and I had people along the way, whether you want to call them angels or not, show up and help me when I needed it most. So first, I feel like it's my responsibility just as a citizen. The other part is that's what God calls us to do. We're supposed to give back, and so and the other part is too, it's a sense of healing for me. So blessing people and helping people is just one of the greatest healing tools ever.
So tell me then, what have you seen? How have kids and youth in your years here, how have they responded to the mission and ministries, whether that's local missions, whether that's going on trips? How have the youth responded to that?
They absolutely do a great job. I mean, our kids I feel like we have some of the best kids in the country. I mean, they go in and they're not afraid, but we see it draw other people in. So by going on mission trips, we can see a lot of our youth bring other people to participate in some of the youth projects, whether they go to our church or not. And so we've had quite a few of those become members of the church. So it's great seeing the kids do that. You also get a chance to see kids grow. And so I'll talk about one of the youth. We went on a mission trip to Wichita, and as soon as we got there, we were serving in a homeless community with people that were struggling, that stunk, that hadn't had a bath, and she was terrified. And so after a little bit of conversation, she went from being terrified to like one of my great servers in youth, in our youth group.
What do you think's clicked? What do you think? Do you know, or from talking to her, or what?
I think part of it's just about being exposed, that sometimes we're afraid of things that we hadn't been exposed to. Okay. And so just getting in there and seeing that they were just people that God wants us to help, I think changed her.
What are some of the mission projects and things that the youth have done? What are some of the typical projects the youth have done previously?
So we've been to children's homes all across the country. We love going to nursing homes and like assisted living communities and either tie-dyeing t-shirts or painting with senior citizens. We love serving in soup kitchens. We love homeless shelters. We appreciate serving right here, even in the Hope House, just doing our part to help support our church.
Do you see a trend of there's more interest in when they know they're going to be going and working and doing, or how does that play out?
Yes, so the kids love, I mean, we have a few dozen that come almost every week, but a lot of them specifically love the projects. I had a conversation with the dad the other day, and he called me and he said, "Are you guys going to do a mission project today? And I said, no. He goes, well, my son said he's not coming because he loves the mission project. So, which is great. We want kids to find a way to get involved. And if it's just to serve on a mission trip, we'll take them.
You've seen that, and I know that you've got a focus for this coming school year with the youth group, and you're calling it the 20 for 2020 project. Can you tell me about that? What is the 20 for 2020 project?
So I came up with this crazy idea to do 20 mission projects, 20 random acts of kindness for the year 2020. So we're going to do lots of activities within the church. We're going to do some out-of-state stuff. We're going to try to mix it up. So we're going to volunteer at nursing homes, children's homes. And my goal was that we really want to make a difference in the community. So I thought, let's set it up, and if we're going to have a challenge, let's see how big and how big of an impact we can make, not only in our community, but just around us.
So what is something you want for someone sitting out there in the congregation who's hearing this? Maybe they're saying, I've never been involved in a mission or a project or a service, either away or even here in my community. What's a word of encouragement or something you might say to someone like that?
Well, and I hope I get this right, but God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And so I think if we just listen to that call, he'll use us whenever we show up. So we just want people to just, if you're interested in being supportive and helping not only ministries in the youth program, but for the church, just find a way to get involved and God will qualify you.
Hi, my name is Ella.
And my name is Emery. And this year, our youth group decided to live out our faith in a big way
by doing the 2020 for 2020 project.
In August, our goal is to serve God by doing 20 mission projects and 20 random acts of kindness,
one of which is serving here at the Hope House. We invite you to join us and do 20 random acts of kindness in the year 2020.
We believe that through our love for Christ and service to others, we can change the world.
Romans 12:1. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship.
Romans 12:4-5. Each one of us has one body, and that one body has many parts. These parts do not all do the same thing. In the same way, we are all many people, but in Christ we are all one body. We are all the parts of the body, and each part of the body belongs to the other.
So you've received an invitation, you've received a challenge from the youth of our church. Inside your bulletin, you have a blue insert that says 20 for 2020 project. And as you heard them say, the youth are going to be doing 20 mission projects and 20 random acts of kindness throughout Stillwater, our state, and beyond. And they're inviting you to make a commitment that over the next year, for the next 12 months, to commit to doing just 20 acts of service. These can be grand things like going on a mission trip, or they can be simple things like if you have an acquaintance who is sick, you can take them a meal. Maybe you can pay a visit to somebody who's homebound. Maybe you can serve an afternoon at the Hope House or Our Daily Bread. There are so many options and things that you can do to be in service to your community around the world. And so what the youth are asking is that if you would like to make that commitment to fill this little card out, to give them your name, your contact information, and we have baskets for the clothes. As you leave the sanctuary today, there's a basket up here and over there on our altar rail. If you go out those exits, there's a basket on the table in the back of the narthex. If you exit that way, if you're willing to follow our youth's leadership and commit to 20 acts of service over the coming year, please fill that out and turn that in, because the youth want to encourage you. Over the coming year, they'll be in contact with you. They'll be checking in to see how things are going. They'll be sharing their own stories about how the 20 for 2020 project is impacting them. They'll be inviting you to join them at work days at the Hope House and Our Daily Bread so that we as a community of faith can serve God's kingdom together. You heard that scripture that was shared by the kids there at the end as we are told about how we are one body with many parts. You know, we can't do everything on our own. But together, think about everything we can accomplish. Imagine if all 500 plus of us who will be in worship this morning filled this out and over the coming year completed 20 acts of service. That'd be over 10,000 lives impacted for Christ. Seems like a daunting task, doesn't it? But together, with the help of one another, it is completely doable. Amen.
Thank you for taking the time to hear this message of God's grace, hope, and love. My name is Pastor Kyle, and I want to invite you to connect with Stillwater First UMC further by checking out more of our sermons on SoundCloud or iTunes, or by visiting our church website at fumcstw.org. While on our website, you can read about the many ways God is working through First Church and how you can be part of its ministries. Make a financial contribution so that we can continue to serve, or click on the Contact tab to let us know where you're listening from. Ask questions and share the joys and concerns of your heart so that we can be in prayer with you. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you once again, and God bless.